thank you for joining me today, Justin. I just wanted to maybe help the viewers understand who you are, where you're sort of coming from. Can you quickly introduce yourself to me?
Yeah, great. Yeah, my name is Justin Kohere. I'm a real estate agent with Bailey's here in Gisborne, New Zealand. Been in the industry just under 2 years now.
Okay, cool. Now, just so people can sort of understand where you were within your business before we actually started working together, do you maybe want to explain where you were in terms of your real estate business before we actually partnered up together?
Yeah, definitely. So before I met up with you, Shay, and obviously, like everyone else, just coming into the industry, finding your way and finding different methods to be able to create leads and create business for yourself.
100%.
I tried different avenues, different methods, from the traditional cold calling to the door knocking to flyers and everything in between. I'd done a few different lead generation systems prior to coming on with UJ, and yes, so once I found your side of things, that's where I was beforehand.
Okay, and how did those, you mentioned there that you tried out a few things. How did those go for you?
Oh, it's like any marketing, whatever you do for marketing yourself or to try and get yourself out there to get clients, get leads. It's not a silver bullet, but it's an opportunity. You give yourself those opportunities to be able to get in front of people. So the ones I did have were hit and miss, but I gave that a chance because anything you can get is an opportunity, and take them while you can. And obviously, once you've done all those different types of marketing, you come to something that works for you, and then you stick to it.
100%. And I like what you mentioned there, because you said it's not a silver bullet. And I think a lot of agents come into this, maybe they haven't worked with a marketing company before, and they think that, oh, they're just going to have like 3 listings sit right on their lap. But it's really not a silver bullet. Really, it's more of a chance, and it's going to give you a lot more opportunities to get your foot in more doors, right?
Absolutely. That's definitely right there. If people are thinking that, Jesus, this is going to be the way it's going to be for me going forward, I'm going to absolutely smash it. You got to put yourself in perspective. These people that come through are people that you don't know, so you've got to try and nurture them a bit, and you've got to create a relationship with them as such. And that's what it's about for me, is creating those connections and building that database.
100%, not being like more so transactional, but focusing on those relationships so you can build something long term.
Absolutely, definitely.
Cool. Now, I guess fast forward a little bit, just to give people a bit more context. Like, once we started working together, once we partnered up and the campaigns went live, what sort of changes did you start to notice within your business in terms of like leads, appraisals, appointments, all that sort of stuff?
Yep, I definitely saw a difference pretty much straight away with obviously the marketing side of things, how we got through to people, basically with the Facebook ads, giving people opportunities to reach out themselves rather than us trying to ring them. And it basically opens that door a whole lot more than it was before for me. That's pretty much what it's done. It's them reaching out to me and me coming back with information for them and just having a chat to them.
Yeah. So creating like a more of an inbound pipeline rather than having to go out and get every single lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's since I've been with you in those 3 months that we've done it, I've been in front of more people that way than I have in any other marketing or any other way I've tried to create business for myself. That's definitely been the one for me that has highlighted these appraisal presentations, talking to people, and that's been really good for my business, for the pipelines.
Okay. And just so for the people watching, so they can sort of understand how it works, what have been the nature of these conversations when you actually talk to these people, like these leads that are coming in?
Yeah, so basically, okay, you're going to get a lot of leads that tire kickers as such, that some people thought it was an online thing, some people are just curious and things like that, but there are the ones that do want you to help them, and that's what it's presenting, that opportunity to help someone and get in front of them. And with the appraisals that I've got through that, and the people I'm dealing with, and the pipelines from the conversations, you know, there will be a steady flow through the pipeline in the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay. Now, just to also get a bit more specific, in terms of like, how many would you say like are in the pipeline, listings that are looking to come to the market? Like in terms of actual numbers, what would you say, just so that people have the actual numbers rather than just sort of generalizations?
Right. So the ones that I've got now in the pipelines from the 3 months that I've probably got about 5 to 6 serious sellers, and those ones are basically ready to go within 3 to 6 months. That basically said to me, I'm ready to go. Just got a few things to do, and that's what that's created. So those 5 or 6 have real serious intentions of selling. So that's in the pipelines now, and there's a lot more that I have got on my databases from that that I'll just keep in contact, because it's not quite right for them at this time. Might be 12 months plus before they start thinking about things.
Okay. And I know that earlier on, so you said you've got 5 to 6, but you also want to talk about the other ones, because I know you said you had lost a few earlier on, like those 2 or 3 that you had lost, and you also said that you had just listed one recently. So do you want to talk about that a bit more?
Yeah, so obviously throughout the campaigns, you've had some hit and misses, but there's been some serious people in there. We've had the opportunity that I've been in front of people, and they were selling as well. However, for whatever reason, I didn't get that listing. They did end up listing it with another company, or they've sold it privately, but they were there, and I had the opportunity to try and close that at that, in that time. But obviously, for whatever reason, they were with someone else. So they are definitely serious sellers out there coming through.
Yeah. So you were getting through some genuine opportunities then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, obviously, I've got one listing now that I'm working with actively now. It's under contract. So that's there. And like I said, I've had those other opportunities that I've missed out on, but they did end up selling. And I've got, like I said, 5 or 6 in the pipeline that are seriously looking at selling in the next 3 to 6 months.
So it could look like there's some pretty comms yet to come.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely.
Cool. Now, off the back of that, what would you say was the first big win that you experienced once we actually started working together?
I suppose, Jay, you just understood where I wanted to be, what I wanted to get from that. Obviously, coming from different, you have different marketing guys ringing you all the time about, hey, I've got this, I can do that for you, I can do that. But you've never said that it's a silver bullet. It's an opportunity that we created with you. You created with me because you understood where I wanted to be. So that understanding is huge, and then that our relationship worked from there, and then obviously our marketing went around that sort of thing. So definitely it's been a big change in how I look at marketing now.
Yeah. So rather than telling you what you wanted to hear, I told you what you needed to hear, and then actually took a step back to truly understand where you were and where you wanted to be. Is that what you're trying to say?
Pretty much, that's right. I wanted to be, I need to be a certain place. I know where I was. And from that time, from when I started with you till now, I'm in a much clearer place and where I need to be. And it's probably, like I said, just under 2 years now. And that's the most clarity I've had for generating leads, and, it's working.
Okay. So to summarize things, would you say the win you experienced was just having someone on your side that actually listened to what you wanted to do and then executed on that? Would you say that is?
Yeah, well, it's exactly right, because throughout the campaigns, with how it's the marketing goes and how the Facebook ads went, we had conversations around the questions that we wanted to be answered. You didn't just say, well, this is it, that's how it's going to be. You gave me your background of the many times you've done this, and it was good to be able to listen to each other and get to the final that we're both happy. It's not about just one being happy, it's about both of you being happy. So very happy with the outcome there.
Cool. So we put something in place that was a win-win for both of us, right?
Definitely. That's what it's about these days. It's got to be, it's a bit like, when you're trying to list someone's property, they need to know that they're going to get a win out of it, same as you. It's working together for the best outcome for both of us.
Yeah. So let's rewind and then also look at where we are now. Let's say we're shooting a 30-second infomercial for you, and we have to look at, okay, this is where you were before, and this is where you are now. What would you say that before and after is if you were to just shoot that 30-second infomercial?
I suppose it's about basically if you're wanting to achieve, I would say, consistent leads to be able to go through your pipeline so that you've got a plan for the future. That has been the best thing I've done since I've started real estate. So before that, I was hit and miss with a lot of my marketing, and I didn't know where I was going to go, how I was going to create all these leads, and since from there till now, you're sitting there and these leads keep coming through to you through the Facebook, and people are just flowing through. So every day you feel that you got opportunity, where sometimes it was a week without anything happening, but since I've started this process with you, there's been constant leads coming pretty much every day, and that's really good for your self-esteem and things like going forward, that you got an opportunity. So before that, probably not so much opportunities, but now there is opportunities pretty much every day.
So now you probably have a bit more, say, predictability in terms of being able to project, what's potentially coming on the market and what you could potentially list, or how many appraisals are to come.
Yep. So, basically from this beforehand, it was sporadic. I'm getting in front of people weekly now, at least 2 people a week. And, it's obviously taking out all the people that are not serious. So you've got 2 people a week for the last, that's really good, and getting in front of them and actually sitting with them. So before that, it was hit and miss, but it's constantly at least 2 a week, sometimes 3. I've had that opportunity to present and try and get them to, come with me, or at least give me the opportunity when the time arises.
For sure. Cool. Now, I'm not sure if you remember specifically, but how did we actually get in touch with each other? And what was it that made you decide that, okay, this is the guy that I'm going to let help me grow my business?
Well, like I said, Che, before that, I was, as real estate agents, people email us a lot of information like, hey, we can do this for you, we can do that for you, and it happens all the time. Like weekly, there's someone else new wanting to tell you that they've got a silver bullet as such to help you with your business. And obviously, when you've had that experience of different ones over those times, which you've got to anyway, because you've got to have, you've got to be able to have some experience through different marketing to understand what they do for you.
Yeah.
Through the emails that you gave me, I was starting to think about, okay, what's another direction? I've tried this, I've tried that, it's not quite working for me. Hey, look, I'm always open. You should be open to opportunities, and just listen to someone. Listen to them, what they can offer you and what they can get out of, what you can get out of it, and you got to make that decision for yourself and your business to move forward.
Yeah. So, because I remember after we actually had the call, right, you were 90, 95% the way there, and there's that little last 5% that was sort of like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? So what was that last 5% that actually made you decide, okay, this is something that I'm going to do and actually give a chance to?
Probably two things really, Che. Was the first one was skepticism about another marketing person, another marketing guy, trying to sell me something that I've already done before. That was like, oh yeah, it's another one of those ones.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of it. And the second one was, because I've put a lot of money into other things that haven't really come to fruition for me. So that was the other one too, is about spending more money. But at that time I was thinking, well, if I don't do something, what else am I going to do to create leads for myself to be able to have the opportunity? So yeah, I had to really think deep. Is this, but again, once talking to you, going through the system, you weren't pushy to be able to, no, you need this now, come on and do it. You were actually quite sympathetic to my needs and to what I want and what I've been through.
Yep. And
you just gave me these options, and that's what it's about, is having options and understanding where you are and you understanding where I was. So that's probably what took me over the line.
Hmm. Well, at that point in time, you definitely could have viewed it as like, yeah, this is a risky situation, but you ended up biting the bullet, and now your pipeline's looking a lot more healthier than it was before.
Absolutely, it definitely is. And I'm glad I took that. We talk about risks and things like that, but it's a calculated risk as such. It's
Mhm.
um, and I think you got to give it that time frame too. Like, people want instant results, but I can tell you now, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's a long process, but that's why it's called pipelines, to be able to bring them through the pipeline and over time and keep creating that.
Yeah, you got to delay that gratification, because I think a lot of the way with all this new technology, people are programmed these days to want things now, 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 instant gratification, and yeah, you definitely do need to take your time with some things.
Absolutely, because we're talking about people, and they're thinking of selling. They're not sure if it's right for them. So
Mhm.
basically, they just wanting some information for starters, and then if you can give them the right information in a certain way, it makes them make the decision. Oh, it's a good time for me to sell or not, or oh yeah, I've got things to do, but I'll be in touch very shortly, because you've given them that information. You've given them that certainty that they're doing the right thing. So yeah, definitely working.
100%. Now, for the people that are watching this, there's probably going to be a few people watching this that we're maybe talking to, or maybe we've spoken to in the past, and they're on the fence as to whether this is something that they actually want to do or would work for them.
Mm.
What would you say to those people that are on the fence and maybe considering this?
Yep. Well, like we said at the start, there's no silver bullets in real estate. There's nothing like that at all. It's how you create connections, and that's the big one. It's connections creates business.
Mhm.
And it's something that helps you build your pipelines, helps you build your databases, so that you can create a relationship and a rapport with people. Because most people won't list with you; they don't know you. They
Mhm.
won't list with you until they get to know you, until they feel that you are the real deal, or you can offer them security. So yeah, it's a process. So um, you know, I would also say that you have to give it some time. Like we talked before, it's not going to happen overnight. You got to give it that time frame, at least 3 months. At least, to get it to the point where you can see tangible results.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm definitely seeing those tangible results, because I've got listing from that. I've also got 4 or 5 people that are looking at selling very shortly, and happy to keep them in touch to get them over the line. And the ones I haven't been able to, that aren't really looking in the near future, they're still there for me, and I be able to keep in touch with them in 6 months, 6 months or 12 months. So it's just creating a massive database for yourself.
Yeah. So to the people watching this, you'd say something along the lines of taking your time and not expecting things to come instantly, as we were speaking about before.
Yep, definitely. And it could happen. Like I said, I was earlier in the piece, I've been with you. I had 2 opportunities really early in the piece, and I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But like anything, if they have other plans and things like that, you can't help it that they've got those plans, or they go with another agency because they know someone there.
Yeah.
So it's that opportunity. And if you can get in front of them and say, look, and I can help you, and I want to help you, then they see that authenticness and then go from there. But it's been changing. It's changed my strategy towards lead generation.
Okay. Now, there's probably also some people that will be watching this, and they're not a client yet, but they're probably going to become a client after they actually go ahead and watch this. To those people who are watching this and in that sort of situation, what would be maybe 1 or 2 things that you could recommend to them in order to help them see success with the system that we helped you build?
Yeah, I think it's just looking at your whole business as a whole, where you are. If you're doing really well, um, don't rest on your laurels. You have an extra pipeline strategy in place, to
Mhm.
bring in more business, which is really good. But if you're really successful now, great. But for the ones that are struggling, which most people are, you got to have something in place that creates leads for you. That's bottom line. No leads is basically your business will die.
Yeah.
So my advice is to put your trust into Shay and what he does, talk with him like he had for me. He understood where I was, comes up with different plans, different strategies that help me in, in the financial side of things, as well as what we're trying to develop.
Yeah.
And it will work for you in time. And that's what I believe. And I will still be a client of Shay's for as long as I can. That's the truth about it.
Cool.
This is where I see value, and I've seen that, and I'm proof of that there is people that have sold their properties, and there are people that I've got a listing through that, and I've got ones in the pipeline, and that's only in 3 months.
Yep.
And unless you've got something else that you can rely on, what have you got to lose?
Awesome, Justin. Well, I appreciate you jumping on with me today. Before I let you go, is there maybe one other thing you'd like to say to people who are watching this?
It's like anything in life is, if you got to think about where you want to be, and if you got your drivers to be, up there in the real estate and have listings, continuous listings or continuous leads, you've got to do something. If you're not going to cold call, if you're not going to do door knocks, which most people don't, you've got to have some strategy in place to create leads continuously. And sometimes you just got to pay for those unless you're really good at those other things, and most people aren't.